that it should be noted clearly and profoundly that we as a students fraternity condole and sympathize with the bereaved family. And we, just like the rest of the people who claim they are more concerned than us, are concerned about what happened. And we have gone ahead on a non-political united front to condemn the violence and wish in every way possible to assist management or any authority to eradicate this completely. Secondly, we have come as students to characterize the resolution of the University Council as rogue and one that are suffering from lack of focus and particularity. And we have even gone ahead to term them as predefined.
Twagala okuvumirira obutemu, okuvumirira efujjo eryaliwo ku lunaku olwo lwasazaamu akalulu kaffe nga abayizi b'e Makerere, n'okuvumirira ekikolwa ky'abakulembeze abali mu ofiisi eza waggulu okulwisawo akalulu kaffe nti kana akalulu kaffe n'obukulembeze bw'abayizi ng'e Makerere bwe butuzza mu bintu ebirala nti ogenda okutunuulira nti Makerere yezadde abakulembeze b'eggwanga nti oba otunafuya ssaawa zino eno oba otukola bubi nnyo. Tusaba obukulembeze bwaffe babuzeewo mu budde, akalulu kaffe bakazeewo mu budde.
Within this whole election period, starting with Sulaiman, Bossa Price, Mwesigwa Calvin, Roy Rugmayo, we need those students reinstated as soon as possible. That is a demand that we are not going to compromise on. But then most importantly, we do make our stand clear. Let the university hold elections before the 15th of August when we are meant to do exams. That this is just voting. It is not that we are requesting for rallies or processions or anything. No, just tell us that wake up on the 10th of August, come and vote. Or on this date that you will have decided. Because we've mastered that this university continues to do things that they have said they will need 1 month, but we are not sure of that. They can take 20 months, they can take 6 months while they do their investigation. So for us, we have no problem with the time they take, but what we need is that we need elections, we need student leadership at this very time.
We call upon the university management to reinstate our students as soon as possible. You cannot suspend someone for holding an online meeting. Yesterday, while we met the University Council Select Committee, we made it clear to them that we are willing and ready to hold discussions with them, to sit with them on a round table. But we are requesting them not to push us to the wall. We are requesting this university not to tempt students into reacting. All the students are requesting for is an election. Even while we are seated here, ready to have these conversations, the story might be different 5 days from now, when a student misses their paper because they don't have an academic means.
Tetugenda kukkiriza voting online oba kiyita okulondako ku mutimbagano kubanga ffe tumanyi nti ng'abayizi tulabye ebibaawo mu Uganda yo nga byonna nti abantu bavaayo ne batulaga nti nono yabadde awangula naye nimugenda okulaba ng'olunaku erugwereddeyo ate yabadde awangula gwe bakubye akalulu nti kati tetusobola kugenda ku system gye tumanyi nti university eri in charge tetumanyi omuntu okubye akalulu ani alonze ani alondedde ani so ffe tugamba nti no tetunaba kufuna eyo trust gye tusobola okuteeka bumwani mu management nti tugenda kulonda online era tugamba nti nga ne bwe tuba tusaba kuno okulonda twagala kubeewo nga kuli physical abantu bajja bakuba akalulu nga buli omu afuna ballot paper nti olwabawo ekintu ekitagenze obulungi tulina we tusobola okukauntingira.
Hussein Ibra, Good Aspirant, NLM Problem.
A very good afternoon to you all. Thank you very much. My name, GRC Aspirant, School of Movement Performing Arts.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Kato Enoch, Chairman, Aspirant of Nkrumah.
Good afternoon. My name is Sagar Kraiba Majik, Aspirant GRC School of Business.
Good afternoon to you all. Abraham Zafar is my name, GRC Aspirant, School of Language, Research and Communication.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as you might know, my name is Muhwezi Joshua Lawel. I am the spokesperson of the Select Committee. As you may know, after the incident that surrounded the final rally that was going to usher in the next election that we are going to see the next new president, we as students have been very hesitant to have press conferences and address officially because we thought it was important for investigations and for the university administration to do everything possible to bring about the objective and the real circumstances that surrounded the incidents that led to the death of a colleague student from UCU who had come to attend the final rally. But that incident also came with banning of the students' guild leadership and also halting that election, which means up to until now, we don't have any form of guild leadership from guild president to class coordinators. We understand that these are very important for the running of the students' welfare and the students' education at the university. We are alive to the fact that the University Council set up a committee which was supposed to investigate circumstances surrounding the guild election and to pave way for an investigation. However, we think that we can have that process going on, but that does not mean we remain without any form of leadership. And so we think that we can have a leadership as the investigations continue. Makerere University surely cannot continue to exist without guild leadership for the next 4 months. And it's against that environment that we, the students, especially guild aspirants, came together and formed a select committee which is currently steering, providing direction and making sure we demand for guild elections as soon as possible. Just to bring you up to speed, this select committee was chosen by aspirants who held an online meeting, the famous online meeting that has since caused suspensions, and they formed a 5-man committee to which I'm the spokesperson. But just to be brief, yesterday we managed to meet the select committee of council and made our resolutions clear. The committee of council has committed that they are going to work on it, but they are not. They didn't commit. They are not definite on what dates we are going to have elections. But our demand is very clear that we need elections before the commencement of examinations on 15th August. We have several demands, but I would like colleagues here to address some of those. And Her Excellency Shamim Nambasa can take us through some of those issues that you present today.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. Yes, good afternoon once again. My name is Shamim Nambasa, the outgoing guild president, or rather the 87th guild president, or the immediate former guild president. And we do gather here because we believe that while things could have gone wrong, that whatever is happening now could actually lead to worse. That what am I talking about? That what is a university without student leadership? We do appreciate and understand that at that very point in time, it was necessary to suspend elections, that we needed to come together and know what is happening. But now it's been 2 weeks plus since that incident happened. And then we see a select committee that actually now starts to do their work later, after 2 weeks when they were actually constituted. But we are saying that this committee can go ahead and make investigations and do the recommendations that they want to do. But the existence of a guild leadership does not stop that. And we do realize that we need student leaders at any one point in time. That even when the university claims to have suspended students, they still go ahead and have students continue to do their roles as leaders. Class coordinators are performing their roles as student leaders. I myself have been in position to do and make some demands at certain levels, even when the student leadership was suspended. So the university should not be hoodwinked to believe that they can actually continue to operate without student leadership. At any one point in time, they need student leaders. But most importantly, we must appreciate that dictators have mastered the art of diversions. That when students came out to speak and express themselves and said, look, you can do your investigations even with having a student guild in place, the Vice Chancellor went ahead and suspended one of the students who is alleged to have called for that meeting. And we do believe that this is supposed to be a diversion, that now we leave the point where we're saying, no, we need student leaders, to now reinstate our students. and then later on we just let it die. But was this student actually suspended on the right grounds? So one of our demands is we need the Vice Chancellor to lift these suspensions and reinstate the students that were suspended within this whole election period, starting with Sulaiman Bossa Price, Mwesigwa Calvin, Roy Rugmayo. We need those students reinstated as soon as possible. That is a demand that we are not going to compromise on. But then most importantly, we do make our stand clear. Let the university hold elections before the 15th of August when we are meant to do exams. That this is just voting. It is not that we are requesting for rallies or processions or anything. No, just tell us that wake up on the 10th of August, come and vote. Or on this date that you will have decided. Because we've mastered that this university continues to do things that they have said they will need 1 month, but we are not sure of that. They can take 20 months, they can take 6 months while they do their investigation. So for us, we have no problem with the time they take, but what we need is that we need elections, we need student leadership at this very point in time. Thank you.
Well, as the secretary to the select committee of the students, we held the meeting, and these are the resolutions that we presented in front of council, and want to categorically state that we shall not concur with the double standards of this university of continuing to use leaders that have been suspended. So immediately, if the university does not grant us an election as soon as possible before examinations, we call upon all student leaders who are already acting in their places, we call upon all class representatives to defy the order of suspension and continue working. At the same time, we request, and it is clear that we have made it clear that we want elections before examinations. Students are bound to miss out on examinations because of absence of their academic ministers to follow up on their issues. Without student leaders, there will be no examinations at this institution. The orientation of students who are bound to come next semester cannot happen without student leaders. The administration cannot orient these people without student leaders at all levels. So, I'm wondering how they are going to hold orientation without guild leaders, without hall leaders, without school leaders and college leaders. So clearly, there will be no orientation, there will be no receiving of new students into the university. We call upon the university management to reinstate our students as soon as possible. You cannot suspend someone for holding an online meeting. Yesterday, while we met the University Council Select Committee, we made it clear to them that we are willing and ready to hold discussions with them, to sit with them on a round table. But we are requesting them not to push us to the wall. We are requesting this university not to tempt students into reacting. All the students are requesting for is an election. Even while we are seated here, ready to have these conversations, the story might be different 5 days from now, when a student misses their paper because they don't have an academic minister. We call upon the university management to be very conscious not to push the students of Makerere University who have chosen dialogue. That meeting had over 110 students who would have chosen to rise up and go to the streets. We have said we shall not be pushed to that because we believe that there can be room for dialogue. So the university should not respond by banning people who are trying to mobilize students to dialogue with them, but rather ensure that our demands are met. We all want the truth of what happened on that day, but that cannot happen without student leadership. So this university, and as I said clearly, that if the university fails to have elections as soon as possible, we have been in touch with leaders at hall level, at school level, at college level, and at guild level. They are more than willing to do what they have been doing, but openly. Because as Shamim has told you, she's still carrying on some duties as guild president. There are school leaders who are still carrying on their activities. For example, you cannot release marks in Makerere University without a student representative on the college board. So those people are actually doing those things. they are fulfilling those roles. But if there is no election, we shall call upon all leaders in the entire university, from the guild president to the guild speaker to the GRCs to the whole chairpersons and their senior common rooms, to the class representatives, to come back and operate fully. So we request that this university, the administration, hears our demands and pleas. And as I conclude, I want to state it clearly that no amount of intimidation from elements within the university are going to stop us from demanding what is ours. We pay nomination fees. These rights are granted to us by the Constitution. We have our rights of association. But also I want to inform members here that this evening we shall have another online meeting with all aspirants in the university to inform them of the progress so far made and to also decide on the way forward. So we are not deterred and we are not threatened. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think before we listen from lead aspirants that are with us, we think that the administration, especially the Vice Chancellor, has systematically failed on his role. First, we think that with the incidents that happened around the guild election, they failed to do their part in terms of providing security. Secondly, we think that perhaps the absence of elections is deliberate because this is a Vice Chancellor whose term of office is getting done in 1 month, and he understands that with the students' leadership, we are not going to allow him to change the regulations. We should not allow him to stand again. And so with that at the back of our minds, we are continuing to push to make sure that elections are there. For the last 2 weeks, we have been very peaceful. We are determined to engage, but we cannot assure the university that once this peaceful means continue to be resisted, we shall not pursue the Makerere way of getting answers. And so we want to make a clarion call to the public and to all stakeholders that we as students are determined to continue to engage, to be peaceful, and to do that everything that is within our means to have a conducive welfare. But we think suspensions like those that were released by the Vice Chancellor are meant to provoke students into violence, into strikes. For now, we are keeping peace and that momentum, but we want to let the public know that we shall not relent until we get substantive good leadership. We don't think that anyone can assume that they will pass their draconian policies without students' presence, representation on the University Council, on the Senate, on college leaderships. So to us, leadership is very important and we need it urgently and we need it soon. Thank you so much. Let's have, I think, the guild president.
Thank you so much. My name is Hussein Ibra, Guild Aspirant at Makerere University, NRM flag bearer. First and foremost, I would like to thank the negotiators, the Makererians, who stood with us in our campaigns. Secondly, us as the students or the leaders of Makerere University, we are kindly calling upon the administrators to organize our election in time. Thirdly, we as leaders, we condemn the violence that happened on 14th, and we are kindly calling upon the committee that is taking the investigation to come up with the report as soon as possible, because we know the people who were involved in the violence, who are involved in the murder. We know them. Let the committee come up with the report as very soon as possible. We condemn the violence. We are intellectuals. We need a very, very, very suitable leadership in the Makerere University. We are calling upon the administrators to organize our election in time, before 15th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon once again. My name is Alionzi Lawrence, a Guild Presidential aspirant on the National Unity Platform ticket. My colleagues have been as eloquent as they have been passionate about the plight of a common market area at this point in time. However, allow me to make the following mentions. That it should be noted clearly and profoundly that we as a students' fraternity condole and sympathize with the bereaved family. And we, just like the rest of the people who claim they are more concerned than us, are concerned about what happened. And we have gone ahead on a non-political united front to condemn the violence and wish in any way possible to assist management or any authority to eradicate this completely. Secondly, we have come as students to characterize the resolution of the University Council as rogue and one that are suffering from lack of focus and particularity. And we have even gone ahead to term them as predefined. We think those will not be an excuse for them to suppress the academic freedom of the students. And you can disband the elections, but you can't disband the right of the students. It should be known, and we wish that we invite the public to the following discussions. That these suspensions do not have anything to do with discipline or indiscipline. You can't suspend a student for conducting an online election or an online meeting that they held among themselves. Students are trying to have an intellectual engagement among themselves to assist the committee that is pushing them out from having a say in what they are trying to do at this university. So we think the mandate of the select committee on the council side does not contradict in any way with having a guild leadership. If for anything, the guild leadership will assist them in executing their roles. And therefore, if it's not for the politics, no reason for somebody to push out students from their involvement. And some of the measures we have gone ahead, including disbanding and suspending the class reps, do not speak to any of the events that have led to these circumstances. The class rep is a non-political leader. He doesn't have anything to do with what happened. The class rep has never at any one point contributed to violence at this university. There's no point. And if you are a lecturer at Makerere University, at this point, you have to work from your office to come and inform the class that you have a lecture tomorrow, because there are no class reps. Except, like my colleague said, some have had to go ahead to summon their courage and go ahead to serve like I've always done, beyond their timidness and beyond their fear. But if it wasn't for that, you would have seen how unreasonable some of these motives are. But we as the students, we think we should not be categorized as indisciplined people because we have gone ahead to engage. And the media and the public will not be surprised if after here, some of the people on this press conference are suspended for holding a press conference. They are also going to call this indiscipline. I want to think. Otherwise, we had an online meeting that never had any physical engagement, that never had anything to do with the violence or indiscipline. And the resolutions that we suggested were forwarded to the select committee of the council. And some people who are genuine on the council appreciated this resolution that we discussed. Meaning the students want to engage, but diplomatically. So let us not brand the students as violent people. The students deserve their civic space to speak up and to be heard. If the students want to make contributions to all this, let them be allowed. Let nobody be intimidated into suspensions. We have had enough suspensions. We think there's no need to call a student who has been able to summon his courage, his knowledge. And I think that gentleman, Suleiman, is one of the most profound Makererians we shall live to celebrate. Because in this time, university was the only one who could think about organizing the students to have an engagement, intellectually, without a physical meeting. And for what this resolution that we have discussed as students to the university, for them to consider from a student's point of view. Disbanding the students and the leadership is like the government disbanding management to come and invest this matter themselves. How does that pay? So we have made our demands very clear, and we believe they have been heard. And among them includes them not touching the guild constitution, because that is immoral in itself, and they will not want to see the reaction of the students or what we are up for if they touch the guild constitution, because everybody, even the public, must agree that is not something right to do. And the several other demands, but for me, among them all, is the reinstatement of the suspended students. These are innocent people who have the best interest of the university at heart and their fellow students, and we are actually helping a select committee to do a genuine work, which we thought they were not doing because they were silent for 2 weeks. Thank you so much. A good afternoon.
I have one question. Like we say that you have the leader who's a dictator, that is Nawang, the vice chancellor, and it seems like he's not on your side. what are you going to do in case he doesn't listen to your demands? What are you planning to do? Have you taken any legal step because you have that right of the drug in the university and also everything includes
Yes, recently Vice Chancellor, like 2 weeks ago, he talked of online voting. I don't know whether Madam President and the team, what's your take on that as students? Are you ready for that?
Any other question?
Yes. Hello, maybe to put in context, we're talking about suspended students. How many are suspended during this course? Can you tell us which courses they are doing? Maybe for you, when you say that you know the people who are involved in the chaos, who are responsible for that particular incident, can you please clear that? Who are those?
My name is Ingo Francis. I work with NTV. Just a simple question. I just want to know among you, who is that student that has been suspended as a result of holding an
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Nze Haji Kabogoza omusomi w'edduwa ntereza ensonga z'amaka ebyenfuna n'endwadde ezitategeerekeka. Haji Kabogoza omusomi w'edduwa nsiŋŋaanibwa Ekitigoma ku Lwejjinja. Bw'obanga otuuse Ekitigoma mu ttawuni ku siteegi osobola okuba ku nnamba z'essimu ezo z'olaba zitambula. Gwe wenna ali ewala oyinza okuyita ku mukutu gwaffe ogwa WhatsApp ku layini eyo eya MTN obudde bwonna mbeerako. Bw'obanga otuuse Ekitigoma ku stage osobola okulaba aba boda boda ne bakuleeta awaka oba n'onkubira ku nnamba z'essimu ezo.
Is he a part of this meeting? And if he's part of this meeting, can you explain to us what exactly happened? And maybe another clarification in addition to what my colleague was asking. I understand many students have been suspended from the university. Can you tell us about the figure, about how many students have been suspended in this era of Nawango?
Let me ask maybe one more. My name is Aloysius Biamamos from Radio Mama. The one of you, the guild aspirant, NRM says, you know these people who cause the violence. So don't you think maybe somehow you people are delaying the investigations? Why don't you assist the University Council with maybe the details such that we see the resolutions in time? Who are they, like he said?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to answer questions that I have direct jurisdiction over, and then colleagues who have been asked specific questions will also respond. I am the spokesperson of the select committee, and the person, Sulaiman, that was suspended was our chair. Unfortunately, when you are suspended, you are expected to be outside, to be escorted outside the university by the police. So by virtue of the suspension, you could not attend. But just the circumstances surrounding his suspension, it was the fact that he called for an online Zoom meeting of all aspirants to discuss the way forward, in which meeting we came together as aspirants and other leaders to discuss the challenges we are facing and the resolution we should present before the University Council, the University Management, and the Select Committee of Council that was investigating the circumstances around the election. So he was specifically suspended for convening an online meeting. It is true that from that meeting that also the members that attended came together to form a five-member committee of those to represent them. So just to be specific to the question, he was suspended for convening an online meeting of students. About statistics of how many have been suspended in the election alone, there are not be specific 5, because we had 4 guild candidates that subscribed to the NUP. being suspended because they were trying to have a general assembly at the Freedom Square. I know those suspensions look funny, but that's the leadership we have at the university. About how many have been suspended, the stretch, I think the president will also speak to that. Then I also want to speak to the question of, you have a high-headed vice chancellor, and what are we going to do about it? I think what is very clear is that we have always had our model on how we get to be heard as students of Makerere University. But we recognize that it is important for us to fasten and strengthen our intellectual engagement. We have done our best. We have wrote to all stakeholders, we have gathered signatures, but the Vice Chancellor seems to be interested in violence more than he's interested in peaceful engagements. Just during this time, we had an instance where the personal assistant to the Vice Chancellor called the Council Director of the Makerere Debating Union, intimidating them not to hold any debates around the election. We have also had the chair of the select committee being suspended because he called for an online meeting. So members of the press and the public, if we cannot have, because the alternative to violence, the alternative to a strike is having an online engagement, is having debates. But the Vice Chancellor seems not to be interested also in peaceful elections. But we, of all the other critical populations in this country, Makerere has already spoken, and if the Vice Chancellor continues not to listen to us, I think we shall do the usual Makerere way of expressing ourselves, and we can assure you we shall have the results that we want. But at this point, I would like Shamim to respond to the specific questions, and candidate Hussein will respond to the specific questions and investigations, and then candidate Alio.
Thank you so much. The question that was asked to me was about the fact that the University Council, after the incident that happened, rushed and said we are going to have online elections, we are going to have online campaigns. And over time, I think it is time for us that we need to appreciate where we stand as a country and as Makerere in particular. That there is a reason why, in the first place, we had actually opted to push these online elections away. I was part of the council meeting that decided to actually do that. That we sat down and said, we've had this online voting before. It must be known that we voted online twice. That was the regime before mine and then mine. But then in these times, you find that the system would black out for 2 hours. The system would black out for 3 hours, and then people have to wait and then vote. But then also, but most importantly, we must know that as the student fraternity, we have lost trust in the university management. That this is a system that is going to be controlled entirely by the university management. So when we have situations where the Vice Chancellor and the university management would wish to know who is actually going to be the guild president, or they would wish to have leaders that can side with them, we cannot trust them at this very point in time. That we do not want to see situations that happen during national elections coming to happen actually in our university in particular. And when I talk about these situations, I'm talking about the fact that we see the person that is actually winning the race coming out as the loser. So we as the university students, we do not trust the management, and we know that at any one point in time, we shall never allow to hold online elections in a system that is being managed by the university management. Someone asked about how many suspensions have been there. I must tell you that during my time in office, I had to request and demand for reinstatement of about 17 student leaders, and not just students, but student leaders. My members of cabinet had been suspended, GRCs had been suspended, and for what? Demanding that the university opens its gates fully for all students. So if we sit down to count how many students have been suspended by the Vice Chancellor, I think we can all know that he has had the highest number of suspensions in Uganda, largely. But then I know that during my time in office, he suspended about 17 of them, and I was actually almost being suspended as well.
He knows the killer.
Thank you so much. About the question that who are the people, I was meaning the camps who were involved in the violence. There were two camps, the NRM, there were two camps, the NUP and FDC. There are the two camps involved in the violence that happened. And with Makerere leadership, we have different leaders. For instance, the GRCs were not being voted on 15th the following day, but they have stopped everything. You get, and the investigation about the killers or the murderers, it's with the police, and they're still taking on with the investigation. Thank you so much.
So you have not helped us. For you to say that you know the killers, and then you say the camps. The camps is just, I mean, you are not helping us. Be very specific and say it is Shamim, it is so and so.
I can't tell because me too personal and my camp, we are not even on the scene. And the police is taking investigation. I will not say that Mr. Gund or Mr. Who is that who killed. I know. It's out of us, the NRA.
Trying to say that FDC and Uganda should be kicked away.
Yes, the two camps, I think they can tell us who killed who.
But you say you know.
We know the camps who are involved in the action.
Ebigambo byeyabiridde. Alright, abatulaba tuli Makerere University nga ba student saako n'abantu abalala aba student abayimirizibwa okulonda kwabwe beemulugunya engeri Makerere University gyekuttemu ensonga zino.
And once, as clearly stated, we shall reinstate all student leaders. We are going to call upon all of them to come back and act in their position. And the presence of some of them here approves that. Why am I saying that? This university has double standard, extreme double standard. That last week, you hold a meeting, including Shamim, but now you're saying she's not a good person. We are going to call back all those people to serve in that office. But also, we are going to challenge the decisions of the Vice Chancellor at all levels possible for suspension. We are going to take this Vice Chancellor in all options available. Legal options, as parliamentary commissions, and all available options. Because this is out of hand. You can't suspend over 50 students in your tenure. Yes.
Let the guilty aspirant of no tell us, because the allegation direct to him that he could be known.
Well, thank you. One, I would just say, let us allow the police to do their work. But my plea to the police is to do a non-politically motivated investigation to accord justice to a life lost. And to all the Makererians, let us stop pointing fingers at each other. Let us unite. Like I always say, we are Makererians before we are blue. We are Makererians before we are yellow. We are Makererians before an online system. So you can't afford to have them run an election and prepare for it within this time. I'm sure if they were not, they also agree to this fact they're not ready to conduct an online election unless for other reasons. Therefore, we resort, and our decision is to have a physical election and as soon as possible. Thank you.
Amanya gange nze Lawel Muhwezi nga nze sekamu w'akakiiko akalondebwawo abayizi nga administration egyeko obukulembeze obwa Guild Leadership. Wano tulinawo abakulembeze abalala okuli Guild President waffe Nambasa Shamim n'abalala badde beesimbyewo ku bwa Guild President n'abalala bagenda okukiikirira ebitundutundu mu university. So ngenda kusaba President waffe Shamim Nambasa asooka ayogere ku ki ekigenda mu maaso. Ne twagala bategeeza nti ffe abayizi batuwa responsibility to okurepresentinga resolution zaabwe eri akakiiko era twakasisinkanye era ssaabawandiisi w'aka akakiiko akalondebwawo agenda banyonyola biki bye twasazeewo bwe twasinkanye komiti ya kanso yatondebwawo okuinvestigatinga ebyatuukawo mu bululu. Thank you.
Balamusizza mwena abatulaba Bannayuganda n'abayizi b'e Makerere. Amanya n'eddoboozi nze Shamim Nambasa, naze Guild President w'e Makerere abadde avaawo, outgoing Guild President. Ngeri ekitulese wano okunnyonnyola Bannayuganda na kusaba nti nno tusobola okukola awamu ne tulaba nti nno buli kimu kiddamu ne kitereera, kubanga naffe ng'abayizi kyatuluma nnyo okulaba nti nno waliwo omuyizi eyatufaako era naffe tuli kituluma nti omuyizi yafa. Naye kyetugamba nti moving forward kikyetuzaako, lwaki tuba tuddayo okukola ebintu ate binaatuteeka mu conditioning embi okusingako kuwa we tubadde. Ngeri ekitulese wano kusaba nti nno nakugamba nti guild elections ebasuspendinga tezisobola kubaawo, ne komiti tebateekawo negenda mu maaso ng'ekola okunoonyereza kw'erina okukola. Nti kyetwebuuza ffe ng'abayizi bwe muba mwagoba okulonda mwakugoba kumala bbanga ki? Nti kyetusaba si kubeera ne campaign ne rallies oba processions. Twagala kintu kimu, abayizi bajje balonde, mutugambe nti no ku luno olunaku abayizi muveeyo gye muli mujje mulonde mu kuba akalulu kamu. N'ekirala kyetugamba nti badikiteeta okumala ebbanga bamasterinze ekintu kya diversion, nti bwe tuba tuvuddeyo ne tuyita meeting nga tugenda kwewayaamu nti tulina olukusa olukikola at any one point in time omuntu alina right e meeting. Lwaki gwoba ovaayo n'obagoba? Kibi ki ekiri mu kumiitinga abantu ne boogera ku bintu? Lwaki oba toyagala na debate okuggyako ng'oli mu kukola ekintu nga kifu? Era nga gye tugamba nti eno diversion nawange gye yataddeko okugoba omuyizi tetugenda bujikiriza, tetugenda kugwa mu butego bwe. Tuba nti no abayizi bonna be yagoba mu kano akaseera k'akalulu abakomyewo bakomewo basome ng'abayizi, kubanga ffe tetulaba bukyamu ki bwe bakoze, naye just atukolanga kutujja ku mulamwa gwe tutagenda kuvaako. Nekyala kyetugamba nti tetugenda kukkiriza votinga online oba kiyita okulondako ku mutimbagano, kubanga ffe ngaffe tumanyi nti ng'abayizi tulabye ebibaawo mu Uganda yonga yonna nti abantu bavaayo ne batulaga nti nono yabadde awangula, naye nimugenda okulaba ng'olunaku erugwereddeyo ate yabadde awangula gwe bakubye akalulu. Nti kati tetusobola kugenda ku system gye tumanyi nti university eri in charge, tetumanyi omuntu okubye akalulu ani alonze ani alondedde ani. So ffe tugamba nti no tetunaba kufuna eyo trust gye tusobola okuteeka mwani mu management nti tugenda kulonda online. Era tugamba nti nga ne bwe tuba tusaba kuno okulonda twagala kubeewo nga kuli physical, abantu bajje bakuba akalulu nga buli omu afuna ballot paper, nti olabaawo ekintu ekitagenze obulungi tulina we tusobola okukauntingira. Thank you.
Olaba wa mu ssomero ku ssomero oba eri gye baakola paki?
Kyabadde ayogera nti bwe tulaba zino committees, for example Senate ne University Council mu act ekkiriza Institutions Act, zino committees ne council zirina okubaako abayizi nga barepresenting abayizi, nti kiri very clear. Ne kati tulaba nti no council eri mu kukola emirimu naye byekola tebiri mu mateeka, kubanga at any one point in time baba balina okubeerawo ne ba student representatives. So tumaze okulabya nga mwamina wange obudde bubadde buweddeyo nti bw'otunuulira regulations oba manual ya university, omuntu waba awezezza emyaka 65 65 aba talina kwesimbawo okuba vice chancellor, naye nga tulaba omuntu alina emyaka egiyiseeko naye nga ate ayagala kukomawo. So kyagezaako okukola kusirisa buli omu abadde asobola okuvaayo n'ayogera nti nedda gundi Mr. Nawango tolina kubeera wano obuddewo buweddeyo, ng'ate kyetumanyi nti abayizi b'e Makerere bwe bavaayo ne boogera kiba kizibu nnyo omuntu okusigala nga akola ebikyamu by'abadde akola. So ffe ng'abayizi tumanyi nti no yandibanga ku bwongo bwe ekyo kyabala naye tetugenda kukikkiriza.
Neyanza nnyo amanya n'eddoboozi ze Hussein Ibra yesimbyewo ku kifo kya Guild President e Makerere nga nze akwatidde NRM flag. Okusookera ddala twagala okuvumirira obutemu, okuvumirira effujjo eryaliwo ku lunaku olwo lwasazaamu akalulu kaffe nga abayizi b'e Makerere n'okuvumirira ekikolwa ky'abakulembeze abali mu ofiisi eza waggulu okulwisawo akalulu kaffe nti kano akalulu kaffe n'obukulembeze bw'abayizi ng'e Makerere bwe butuzza mu bintu ebirala nti ogenda okutunuulira nti Makerere yezadde abakulembeze b'eggwanga nti oba otunafuya ssaawa zino eno oba otukola bubi nnyo tusaba obukulembeze bwaffe babuzzeewo mu budde akalulu kaffe bakazeewo mu budde. Ensonga endala gye badde bambuuzaako eya kyekyatuukawo ffe nga abakampu ya NRM tetulina kyetujoogerako kuba tetukimanyi twali tetutuuseewo ku gulawundi awo owava obutemu obwo era ffe twali tukyayimiridde wamu ne famire nti ne mu kuziika twaliyo ne ttiimu eyange twagenda ne bases 2 ne twesondamu amamugo ga kadde kamu nga ttiimu Hussein Bula nga tunywera wamu ne famire eyo yaviibwako muganda waffe era tusaba Mukama Katonda musasire byamusobako awummule mirembe. N'ekintu kya suspension ya munaffe muyizi munaffe Speaker wa Lumumba Sulaiman tukivumirira nti yavuddeyo kujja eddoboozi ku kalulu si kujja eddoboozi mu maanyi tukivumirira ddala nga ffe abayizi oba ffe nga abakulembeze b'e Makerere. N'ekintu ekirala kanso kirikolako investigation ekya erinnya ejjingi erivudde ewabweru nti ag'amaanyi amangi agajja ne gateekebwa mu kalulu kaffe ng'e Makerere togenda okwesanga patemu erese omwogezi waayo w'eggwanga atali mwogezi wa Makerere erese Secretary General erese ba MPs baayo nakyo tukivumirira naye katuleke investigation zigende mu maaso kubanga ffe obukulembeze bwa Makerere bw'obukulembeze bwa Makerere si bukulembeze bwa ggwanga nga balawe bakiraba nti forces zivaiza national politics ne tulabira n'ebiruma abayizi nga ab'e Makerere nga abayizi b'e Makerere ne tubeera ku kiri ekya national politics tukivumirira era tusaba investigation zigende mu maaso mwebale
ngawe nabategeezezza amanya gange bampita Luyombya Kelvin Joshua omuyizi e Makerere era nga ku kakiiko akalonderwa abayizi b'e Makerere yenze omuwandiisi w'akakiiko ako. Njagala okutegeeza eggwanga ne bannamawulire abali wano nti akalulu nga bakakajjawo yunivasite yateekawo akakiiko kaayo okunoonyereza n'okuwa ensala yaako ku bintu ebirina okubeerawo tusobole okubeera n'akalulu. Ffe ng'abayizi b'e Makerere twalinda okumala sabbiiti 2 tugenda okulaba nga tewali kijja. N'olwekyo omukulembeze waffe Sulaiman n'ayita abakulembeze bonna abali beesimbyewo mu Makerere n'abayita basobole okuwaya ku nsonga zino balabe ekigenda mu maaso. Mu lukiiko olwo balonda abantu 5 okukulemberamu kaweefube w'okulaba nti tuba n'akalulu nga ebibuuzo by'e Makerere tebinaba kutandika. Era nsaba okubategeeza nti akakiiko ako olunaku lw'eggulo kagenze ne kasisinkana akakiiko ka Makerere University ke yassaawo. Era bwe twabadde mu mwaka akakiiko twabagambye bulungi ffe ng'abayizi b'e Makerere tuli kubonaabona nga tetulina abakulembeze baffe ne tubasaba nti ffe ng'abayizi tetulina buzibu n'akakiiko kola kunoonyereza naye kyetwagala nti babeere beerufu batuwe akalulu kano mu bazima n'obwenkanya. Ne tubasaba bulungi nti ffe ng'abayizi b'e Makerere twali tumaze okukola kakuyege w'okunoonya akalulu era nga tubuzaayo kalulu kokka. N'olwekyo tewali kintu kyonna kyonna kiri kugaana kalulu kubeerawo nti n'essente zonna ezaali zirina okukozesebwa mu mwaka akalulu n'ebyuma byonna baali bamaze okubigula era nti ne basalawo nti enkya kalulu abaana b'e Makerere bagenda kulonda. Twasabye n'akakiiko era kubanga batulako akakiiko be batula akakiiko akatwala yunivasite eno bakome ku Professor Barnabas Nawangu nti ali kunyigiriza abaana abaagala okwogera abaagala okuwayamu ne yunivasite nti ali kusindika abaana b'e Makerere ku kisenge ate ekintu ekiyinza okubeera ekibi. Akakiiko kennyini ne katutegeeza nti kasiima nnyo emirimu gy'akakiiko kano era ko ng'akakiiko ka yunivasite ituko katulaba ng'akakiiko akaliwo mu mateeka era ne katusaba tweyongere okuba nga tukola bye tukola naye twakategeezeza bulungi nti nga bwe twabagamba twagala akalulu kaffe nga olunaku lw'ebibuuzo olwa wiiki ejja terunnaba kutuuka era nga tulinze kubanga baatusabe tulinde paka nga lwakuna bamaze okuwuliriza abantu bonna batugambe ekiddako batwagala okubategeeza nti tulinze paka nga lwakuna batubulire ekiddako we banaagaana okuzzaawo abakulembeze b'e Makerere tukowoola abakulembeze bonna okuva ku guild president guild speaker ba GRCs ba minister abantu bonna abakulembeze ba class representatives abalina omulimu gw'okutegeka test okutunulira timetable z'ebibuuzo n'okulaba nti abaana tebamisinga bibuuzo na test bonna tugenda kubasaba baveeyo lumu bajuze ebifo byabwe byabagibwako era twagala okwongera okuvumirira university okozesa amaanyi ku baana abaagala okuteesa nabo era nga twongera okubagamba nti ffe ng'abayizi b'e Makerere tetugenda kuzikiza tuli bagumu nnyo nti akalulu kaffe tugenda kafuna era tugenda kusobola okufuna obukulembeze obutuufu mu mazima n'obwenkanya kuba Katonda n'ensi yange.
Yes, ababaddeko mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala. Press conference wetu webadde ey'olunaku olwaleero ng'abayizi b'e Makerere University naddala babali kakiiko akafuzi saako n'abo abaali beesimbyewo okuvuganya ku bwa guild president beemulugunya ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. Bano bagamba nti tebasobola kukola bibuuzo byabwe ng'ennaku z'omwezi 15 omwezi guno nga tebalina kakiiko kafuzi mu Makerere University. Press conference eno ebaddeko owa NRM Hussein, kubaddeko Hussein ne kubeerako n'owa NUP amanyikibwa nga Lorenzo Lawrence Dangote, bonna babaddeko bulungi nnyo. Yes, wa NRM wa Hussein ategeezezza nti bamanyi bulungi nnyo, ategeeza abamawulire nti bonga NRM bamanyi bulungi nnyo abo abatta omuvubuka oyo yafiira mu kampeyini ezisembayo era n'asaba poliisi ebanguyize kuba bo bamanyi bulungi eyatta omuvubuka ono. Hussein ono kandidate we NRM abamawulire omutadde ku nnenga n'ategeeza nti kyabadde ategeeza nti FDC ne NUP be baali ku ground be batta era ng'asoose kutegeeza nti amanyi bulungi nnyo. Olugize n'abyesambaga n'agambira ddala nti osanga munnange poliisi yebimanyi. Ono wa NRM Hussein kandidate we NRM era y'omu ku bafuddeyo n'ategeeza nti asaba akakiiko akakola ku kunoonyereza kawere external force oba amaanyi ag'enjawulo agava ebweru mu kunoonya akalulu ka guild president. Anokoddeyo omwogezi w'ekibiina ky'eggwanga oba omwogezi w'ekibiina ky'ebyobufuzi okujja ne yeetaba mu kalulu kuno, secretary general okujja ne yeetaba mu kalulu kaneeno ate nga kalulu kaali k'abayizi. Naye njagala okutegeeza nti ku sayidi ye waliyo ku sayidi ya NRM waliyo omukulu waliyo omukulu Toyota ono muganda wa Museveni naye si muyizi mu Makerere University. Njagala okutegeeza nti ku kampu ye kwaliko abakungu b'e NRM naye nabo nga si bayizi mu university. Ku kampu ye ya NRM eno kwaliko Jose Chameleone muyimbi wa ggwanga, si muyimbi mu Makerere University kuba yagamba nti ebintu bino byali badde birekebwa aba university ne babikola. Kwaliko Bebe Cool kulaale ye, naye Bebe Cool si muyimbi wa university naye muyimbi wa ggwanga. Kwegamba ogenda n'otunuulira ebintu bino ne bikusobera era abangi badde babuuza nti owe NRM ate ye atya ki. Bw'ogenda mu maaso n'otunuulira ku baali ku nsonga zino nti ensonga zino beesimbirawo ku NRM na NUP bibiina bya ggwanga si bibiina bya mu university, so abantu nsuubira bakkirizibwa okubeeramu. Afe abasomerako Makerere University gye buvuddeko emabega eyo edda abakulu baavangayo ab'e NRM ne bajja nga bakyalinayo obuwagizi nga babeereramu ddala era bannabyabufuzi okuva mu DP mu FDC nga babeerayo ne ku mulundi guno baaliyo naye kirabika mukulu Hussein takimanyi bulungi. So ensonga ezo ezimu ze boogeddeko ne bagamba singa tewabaawo kikolebwa bagenda kuba basindiikiriziddwa tekimala era bakukola ekyo kyonna kye basobola okukola okulaba nga bataasa Makerere University eddemu ebeere n'akakiiko akafuzi okuweereza abantu baabwe. Mukirize baganda bange nkume wano ate tugenda kuba twegwako ewalala gye ngenda okubaweereza olunaku olwaleero. Njagala okubatumira ku mwena ababaddeko ba Lobs Lukyamzi Kasujja n'abalala bangi mwebale mwena okubeera kadde ba complaininga ku ddoboozi. Ndabyeko aba complaininga ku ddoboozi nti eddoboozi libadde wansi. Yes, eddoboozi libadde wansi naye baganda bange ndudde nga ndajja n'okulaba nga tufunayo kasalomoki mixer okulaba nga kabaweereza bulungi kasitandi ako ka 7,000 kagweramu 8 okutuuka wano eno. Ke kabikola ebyo byonna ebyamaloboozi okubeera kiriya ekifaananyi okuba nga tekikankana kiri steady. Kaiko amplifier n'ebintu ebirala bingi bwe bitundudde nga neekubira omulango yenayina ali eyo ddala ng'asobola ogamba nti Ghetto TV kano nkabatonedde ekinaana kikyo nkibataddemu tujja kuba abasanyufu nnyo nnyini ddala. Kasalamoniki mixers ko nakabalagako ko bwe kafaanana mu ggwanga Uganda tekaliimu, kali mawanga aga Europe okusinga. Kagwera 8,000 we kabanga katuuse wano naali eyo ng'osobola okanoonyako ng'oli eyo oyagala tuweereza kiwedde tujja kuba basanyufu nga management ya Ghetto TV. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala kansabe Mukama atakumira mpeera abankuumire olunaku olulungi. Njiza okubatuusaako nomination z'abakansala. Tulina kansala wafuumu yafa emakindi eyo kandabe ekipayopayo okulaba nga ntuukayo nateera mbaweereze mweraba. Yes. Mweraba baganda bange sigadde ndi Buganda Ronald Mugenyi. Mukama atakumira mpeera abankuumire. Njagala okusaasira ku baganda baffe wali mu bitundu eby'embaali. Kitalo nnyo nnyini ddala. Tusabe Mukama atugumye ate era ateekemu ne bannaffe abali mu gavumenti omutima omusaasizi n'ogwo ogwagala ensi yaabwe basobola okulaba nga bakola ekisoboka kyonna okwewala ebintu nga bino singa bibadde. Abo bonna abafiiriddwa abantu baabwe tusaba Mukama yekka ababagomya mu bitundu eby'embaali ate abo abakoseddwa nsaba ate muvunuke mangu oba muwone mangu. Omuzungu kyayita quick recovery. Abayoneneddwa ebintu byammwe Omukama mulungi nti obulamu we buli ebintu bikolebwa ate era ne biddizibwawo ebudde bwonna kasita babanga obulamu okyayina. Mweraba sigadde ndi Buganda Ronald Mugenyi.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Nze Haji Kaboggoza omusomi w'edduwa ntereeza ensonga z'amaka ebyenfuna n'endwadde ezitategeerekeka. Haji Kaboggoza omusomi w'edduwa nsiŋŋaanibwa Ekitigoma ku Lwejjinja. Bw'obanga otuuse Ekitigoma mu ttawuni ku siteegi osobola okuba ku nnamba z'essimu ezo z'olaba zitambula. Gwe wenna ali ewala oyinza okuyita ku mukutu gwaffe ogwa WhatsApp ku layini eyo eya MTN obudde bwonna mbeerako. Bw'obanga otuuse Ekitigoma ku siteegi osobola okulaba aba boda ne bakuleeta awaka oba n'onkubira ku nnamba z'essimu ezo.